Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. Bear with us one moment while we check the feed. You see it pop up on here? Good. All right. Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
Brothers of Great Millstone, Charlotte, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit, power, and mercy of Yahweh Hashem Shai. And before we get about Hashem Rakakudash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and rule well. Peace, blessings, and mercy to the house of David, Habayafta, without a hope for the elect. Unto you all we say Shalom.
Shalom.
All right. I'm the brother Itaz Gabarn with me. And we're just going to go into another installment of True Soul Food where we bring out the scriptures for the nourishment of the body of the believers to continue to exhort them to continue in this journey, this pilgrimage, all right, to mortify the deeds of the flesh and endure the trials and tribulations that are bestowed unto us so that we may enter into the kingdom of heaven. All right. And today's lesson, we're just going to touch on temperance, all right, and how temperance is something that the scriptures highlight to add onto your faith for a reason, okay? As it tells us, if you could write fast, grab Romans 14 and 5. All right, because these things that are written in these scriptures, it's not to be just read solely. The true ability of taking in these scriptures is the application in your day-to-day lives. Okay?
So Romans chapter 14 and verse 5 reads, one man esteemeth one day above another.
Romans 14 and 5? Slovakia. 15 and 4. Yep, 15 and 4. Slovakia.
Romans 15 and 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Right, through the patience and comfort of the scriptures, we might have hope. This hope that lies in this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is bestowed unto us, right, by the learnings of other men, all right, of our various foreparents, our foremothers, right, that pretty much went through certain experiences, right, along with other things in the scriptures, right, such as the prophecies that were spoken of, you know, right. Really, it's just ultimately the word of Yahweh Shai that's breathing into us and giving us the understanding of what to do and not to do, okay. And with these things that are written aforetime, as we read these things, we're to apply it, right? If you can hold 2 Peter's the first chapter, I'm gonna grab this right quick. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 6. Or pardon me, I'll read verse 7. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest, right? So here it is, Joshua is being provided instructions from Yahweh Hashem Shai, all right, of what he needs to do to obtain prosperity, right, in his affairs, okay? And he's telling him to not turn from it to the right hand or to the left. So he's pretty much telling Joshua to stay within the guides of what you're supposed to do in order to be a prosperous person. Okay? And that's something that we have to take on as well, especially in these last days with these evils increasing. Okay? We have to be circumspect, as it tells us in Ephesians, the 5th chapter. All right? And we have to adhere to the word of the Lord.
Right.
Yes, sir?
Now, just adding to you, that walk, right? We're in a time where, that the straits is getting narrower and more narrow, So there's less wiggle room, per se. So now you have to make sure you're walking correctly, because it's easier and more easier to fall off now.
Okay. You get that 2 Peter's 1. I think you start at 5.
It's the book of, you said first or
2
second Peter?
Peter's 1. You start at 5.
It's the book of 2 Peter, chapter 1, verse 5. And beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness.
Right. So what it's saying here in this epistle of Peter is saying that you are to add unto your faith, right? Because we understand that what your faith is a gift. Could you grab that in Ephesians the 2nd chapter right fast, Uncle Shaw? Matter of fact, I'll grab it. You can speak on it. Ephesians chapter 2. I'll reread it again. Could brothers put a comment on the comment board if everything is coming through clear? I'll check it as well. I'm not sure what's going on. We good? Okay, cool. Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 8. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is a gift of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai.
Right, so that the belief, right, to believe in this word, to believe in the promises, right, to believe in the coming, even the persecution that the scriptures tell us are about to take place, right? It takes faith, that it is a gift of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. He gives it to his believers. He gives it to his chosen, right? But in the midst of that, we're in a time of grace that the Lord has afforded us to get right with the Lord, right? So that we can be afforded that increase in faith for these times to come.
Yep. Let's see here. Verse 9. Not of works, lest any man should boast.
Right, so it's not about how much you do, We're required to work, but you won't be saved by your works alone, You won't be saved just because you've made this immaculate, page of videos and whatnot, right? It's about the inward man ultimately, right? If you're not applying these things, as the scriptures say, there's one who teacheth many, right, but is unprofitable to himself, So you can do all this work, but your personal walk isn't being enhanced. Right?
Exactly. We jump back to that 2 Peter.
Book of 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 6. Or it's like, well, I'll start back at 5. And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness.
Right. Now, when you look up that word for temperance, all of these attributes that the brother is reading in 2 Peter's, right? These are things to add onto your faith, but again, focusing on temperance. When you look up the word for temperance in the Strong's definition, in the Strong Concordance, it's Strong's G 1466. It says self-control, the virtue of one who masters his desires and passions, especially his sensual appetites. Okay, so as we continue to walk through this straight gate, what do we have to do? We have to continue to reform our ways, right? We have to be able to. Man, what the fuck is going on with this damn tablet, man? Salakia, Akim. But reading the definition, it says self-control, the virtue of one who masters his desires and passions, especially his sensual appetites. Okay, so you have to have regulation over yourself, right? As we go into the meaning of the word religion, right? This is our religion. This is our heritage. And when you go into that word religion, let me pull that up right fast. In the etymon, the word for religion goes back to religio, right? Let me pull this up. Bear with me one moment. Come on, man. This is crazy. Can you speak for me, brother?
Okay. I did want to get this definition.
Okay,
Con. It's off of the Etymon Dictionary. It reads, for temperance, just like the brother had mentioned, self-restraint, moderation, discretion, self-control, And like I said, jump down, the root word goes into temper, which is to moderate or bring to proper or suitable state. It continues on saying to observe proper measure, So you're allowed certain graces, as we've been given grace, but within measure, right? Like the scriptures tell us not to use grace for the occasion to the flesh. So we've been given this time period to forward the spirit, but the flesh is going to take its piece as well, man. Right? So we're required to understand and use that, observe that proper measure, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So going into this word for religio, man, it says respect for what is sacred. It says reverence for God, um, sense of right, moral obligation. I'm trying to find the actual word here. But essentially, your respect for what is sacred is your adherence. You know.
Right.
So if you respect the ways of Yahweh Bashim El Shai, you're gonna be confided to the bounds of what is able to be done. You know, and that comes with that temperance. That comes with that self-control, and that ultimately shows forth your fear, as we're saying. You got some?
Con. This is, as I quoted it, Galatians 5:13. For brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. Now, reading this in the NLT, it says, for you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, because we're not currently, under the full jurisdiction of the law, man. Right? There's a lot of laws that will require death, that the Lord has afforded us grace, right, so that we can continue to grow in the spirit. It says, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. So being moderate, being temperate, right, having self-control, you're satisfying the spirit and not your sinful nature, man, right? It says instead use your freedom to serve one another in love. So we've been given this time to feed the sheep, right? To take care of the body, right? To grow in the spirit, right? Not to take all the time, the leisure time, as they say, and apply it to our sinful nature. We're not here to, embrace the chains of darkness. That's what we see people in the world do. We're trying to get out of that and elevate ourselves, man.
That's right. Right, because as we continue to walk that straight gate, right, as you guys said, it gets narrow, especially as we're coming near the return of our Lord and Savior Yahushua and Mashiach. When you look at the stage right now, leading in a life of obedience pushes you away from any of these problems. Right, your adherence to the Lord pushes you out of these pitfalls, man. And it ultimately increases you. This is 2 Ezra chapter 13 and verse 54. It says, for thou hast forsaken thine own way and applied thy diligence unto my law and sought it. Okay? And that's what we're to do. We're to forsake the ways of this world, right? And we're to seek after the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? Verse 55, thy life hast thou ordered in wisdom and hast called understanding thy mother, right? That understanding, you think of a mother is a nurturer, a caretaker, right? So that understanding that you have, dived into, right, has ordered your path well. Okay? Verse 56, and therefore have I showed thee the treasures of the highest. After other 3 days I will speak other things unto thee and declare unto thee mighty and wondrous things. So Ezra was able to receive these things in the spirit because he was obedient. Okay, his obedience was leading to these increases in his spirit. And that's what we have to continue to remember as we think of our faith, as we think of our pilgrimage. We have to remain obedient and offend less, as the scriptures say. Okay, because this puts us out of the pitfalls to fall victim to Satan, because the scriptures speak about how, did you actually grab that in Matthew? How Satan desires to sift thee, right? One of the ways that Satan will really try to play on brothers and sisters is if you lack control or restraint in certain attributes, or pardon me, not attributes, in certain things that is going on in your life. Satan can really play on you with that.
This is Luke chapter 22 and verse 31, and it reads, and the Lord, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you.
Right, Satan hath desired to have you. Satan is commissioned to fuck with brothers, to fuck with you sisters. Okay? Keep reading.
That he may sift you as wheat.
That he might sift you as wheat. Now, could you look up that word for sift in the blue letter, Baba Kusha?
This is the word for sift. It says Siniazo, Strong's G, 4617. And it reads, by figuratively, by inward agitation to try one's faith to the verge of overthrow.
Right, to try one's faith to the verge of overthrow. So Satan will try to really fuck with you in your mind, you know, to try and knock you off of your A game, to knock you out of the pace, to chase after the kingdom of heaven, right? To try and knock things out of its proper order and perspective.
Right.
You see? And that starts up here, right? As our elders and apostles always echo the sentiment of your biggest battle in this faith is really yourself. So that aspect of temperance is so important for you to have reign and control over yourself.
Right.
You know?
I'm going to read this real quick.
Okay.
This is the David Guzik commentary for Luke 22 and 31. It reads, Yahushua was aware of a spiritual battle behind the scenes. Peter was no doubt ignorant of the fact that Satan has asked for you that he may sift you as wheat. Satan wanted to completely crush and defeat Peter. You know, so this is what we're seeing is that continual spiritual battle that we have to face, man. Right? There's the continual fight with the flesh, the continual fight with these demons that are on these people. Right? It's a non-stop battle, right, to stay in the spirit, you know, because the ultimate goal is for Satan to try to separate you from the spirit of the Lord, man.
That's right. That's right, bro. That's pretty much it. Matter of fact, it should be a little bit more in there. Where Yahushua pretty much like comforted him at the same time.
Okay, fully. Yeah. It's Luke 22 and 32. But I prayed for thee that thy faith fail not.
Right. The Lord said, but I pray for thee that thy faith fail not. Right? That your faith doesn't fail you to the point where Satan is able to get the victory, because the victory has already been written. But here it is, Peter is the one that's getting this told to him that Satan wants to sift you. But he's also being comforted by Yahushua himself to not fear Satan overtaking his faith. Then he goes on to write an epistle and makes mention of the attributes to add unto your faith. So if Peter is being told by Yahushua to not, you know, mind that, to be mindful of the fact that Satan is desiring to sift you, but to also know that he has said it to where Satan can't overthrow him. You should take heed to the epistle that he's reading, that the brother is reading in 2 Peter's the first chapter. Okay, because that brother was literally told by Yahushua himself what would happen.
God, continuing on. But I've prayed for thee that thy faith fail not, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren.
Right, and strengthen thy brethren. Right, and that's what we're to do.
Right.
Okay? When brothers get rebuked and, you know, critiqued on things that they need to do, hey man, this isn't something to belittle you. This is all constructive for your building. Okay? Just as our elders and our apostles, right, and older brothers in this faith have ministered unto us when we came in. Right? And they still do to this very day.
Right.
Okay?
Precept for you.
Come.
It's 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 16 in the NLT. It reads, keep a close eye. It's like keep a close watch on how you live and on your teaching. Right? Going back to that temperance. You know, going back to that self-discipline. You know, being moderate in all, you know, the way you're moving. It says, stay true to what is right for the sake of your own salvation and for the salvation of those who hear you. You know, so it's not just us, right? We do it for us, but we also do it for the body, man. Right? We understand that, you know, we are set forth, starting with the elders and apostles on down, are set forth as examples, you know? So the way we move shows others how to move. And our pitfalls and our stumbles and misdeeds that we have should be set as, you know, areas that you can avoid, you know? It's like the elder Yatazak went into a couple weeks ago how, you know, they stumbled over some things so that we don't have to, man. You know, so as you see things starting to ramp up, right? You don't have time for the same hurdles to be tripped over,
Right.
right? You have to be more and more uh, cognizant of these things, more careful, moving more carefully, right? Because we don't have time for the same failures, man.
Exactly. You have more?
That was it.
This is Titus chapter 2 and verse 6. Reading in the NLT, it says, in the same way, encourage the young men to live wisely. Okay? And that's something that, all of us in the spirit, we take heed to, right? To live wisely, right? To move, as the scriptures say, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. Do not put yourself in positions to where you can harm yourself. You are a dove. You're harmless.
Exactly.
Okay? Verse 7, and you yourself must be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. Let everything you do reflect the integrity and seriousness of your teaching. Okay, so as you have said, to be mindful of how you live, right? This isn't just for us. It's not just for y'all. This is the entire body itself.
Right.
You don't want to bring any flack to the ministry. You want to do the things that show forth that Israel is in the earth. Okay? The scriptures speak about how surely this is a wise and understanding people. Does not the scripture tell us that the kingdom of heaven is within us? So as we go about our day to day, hey, these people, they should see us and they should be like, damn, like you doing something good. Like just a quick testimony where brothers go to teach at. It's a local bodega in the area, and it's a dude in there that works there all the time, and he was like, man, and this wasn't even a day that we was teaching. Me and him have never had any interactions. We haven't talked, but he was like, yo, you really be doing your thing, bro. Like you really an upstanding dude. I don't even know this nigga. You know what I'm saying? But the spirit, when you move with integrity, man, things don't gotta be said. It's just shown forth in your works, in your walk. You know? It's not even a matter of like you have to consciously think of it. You just do. You just living.
Right.
Verse 8. Teach the truth so that your teaching can't be criticized. Then those who oppose us will be ashamed and have nothing bad to say about us. Okay? So the things that you're teaching, right, you have to apply.
Yep.
And through that application, you're found blameless. You know?
But see, that's why you see these other groups come with, ad hominem attacks, because brother's character, can't be attacked, right? The doctrine can't be attacked. We're teaching correctly. So the only thing they can try to do is come after our personal lives.
Right.
Right? And if you're living correctly, then there's
nothing that can be said against you.
Exactly.
Right? But if you a nigga on the weekends, because when you think about it, bro, and I'll never forget this. Brother had told me that when you in this truth, a very small portion of it is dedicated to videos and you going out on the highways and hedges. That's a couple of hours out of the week. Those other hours count just as much. So as we're saying, that walk is important. You gotta walk what you're talking.
It's more important, because that's where the development takes place, right? Like you said, camp is only a couple hours, right? But what are you doing with the rest of the week, right? How are you improving, right, upon yourself, right? Trying to mitigate whatever flaws and shortcomings you might have, right? To get more in the spirit, man, right? To be more in line with the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, right? That should be your main focus, right?
Let me grab this. Did you have anything?
You can go ahead.
This is Proverbs 25 and 28, reading in the NLT. A person without self-control is like a city with broken down walls. Hey, because when you think about it, ultimately, when you go into, our customs, right, our religion is tied to you being tied and bound within a confines of a box,
Right.
order. When you don't have control in that order, that covering is lifted.
Exactly.
And that's how Satan is able to play and easily break you down. as we see a lot of our people that don't have the breath, that don't understand what the hell is going on, they carrying on in the ways of the world, right? They have no self control. That's why these niggas get broken down all the time.
Right. That's it. Like going back to this definition for temper, it says to regulate, to rule, to govern, to manage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we know how to maneuver through society through the spirit, man.
Yep.
Right? Because brothers know what levels that you have to be at, in order to get through your day to day.
Exactly. Yep. Did you have anything?
God. This is 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 2. It reads, "Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters?"
Yeah.
Right? So in order to be able to be in that governing seat, right? To understand the rule, right? Going back to that definition, it said being able to regulate, right? Being able to manage. You have to put yourself in that as the elect, right? And move as the elect will move, right? So it's saying you shall judge the world, right? And are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? In order to judge those small matters, you have to have that moderation, that temperance, man, right? It says here in the NLT, don't you realize that someday we believers will judge the world?
Man.
And since you are going to judge the world, can't you decide even these little things among yourselves, right? So the things that seem small, right, are really major in the scheme of the nation, man, right? Because we see what poor leadership leads to. We see what poor examples lead to.
Poor decision making.
Exactly, poor decision making, lack of discipline, lack of restraint, right? We see the fruit of all those things, So now that we understand that, you can judge accordingly, right, through your day to day life, and how you move amongst the world, man.
Yep. Did you have more?
That was it.
This for you. Sirach chapter 5 and verse 15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small.
Right. Be not ignorant of anything, man. That ignorance goes into, lacking understanding or lacking knowledge of something, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And in understanding, you can apply whatever you've learned through your personal walks, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As we read, like the brother that brought out that Romans, right? We read these things so that we can apply them to ourselves, right? And in applying them to ourselves, we can the believers continue to grow in their selves, man. Right? So everything is feeding upon itself, right? But you can't be ignorant in any of these things, because being ignorant is not an excuse, right? When judgment comes down, man.
Exactly. Yep. That was all I had. Did you have something?
Let's see. That's it.
Kind of. Hey, well, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. Through the spirit, power, and mercy of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, close out giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and rule well. Peace, blessings, and mercy to the house of David. Habayaf, Dawodato, for the elect to you all. We say Shalom.
Shalom.